You are pathetic. Just like that, you give up inches away from the peak. Your dream right above, licking your fingertips. Just like that. You annoy me. You and your ignorance both. A dream, it just is. Always been right above. No matter how much you tread, it will mock you from above. But perhaps you're right. The peak has never been closer. Back when I was a kid, the mountain daunted me senseless. Now I could flip this mountain off and won't bat an eye, even if I lose my footing. It's not that high up here anyway. Maybe where I am now is the dream achieved. Where I won't hurt myself even if I fall. I can do whatever the fuck I want, and a bruised knee would be the worst that could ever happen. Maybe I didn't grow a tiny bit, but the mountain had cascaded to a little pile of shit where I stand on top of its peak. So what? Or maybe I am on top of the mountain, but everything else seems so small I just can't differentiate them anymore. So what? I probably am on the peak. And you're asking me to leave, jump, fall, just to search for different heights, different peaks to climb, just so I can be a foot taller? What if there's nothing else? I might not be able to get back up here. And if I do jump down, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee. I don't want to. I don't want to leave. Leave me beyond the shit pile. I am pathetic. That's the dream. That was something I wrote not too long ago, around 2 to 3 months before this video was even thought of. Though the narration and description of the thought didn't reach me till then, I think this was an interesting enough ramble to talk about. Please, enjoy. At one time, dreams were just fleeting thoughts. They held no importance. They weighed nothing. It was a mere word that gave off a fuzzy feeling. Nothing but an abstract warmth to it. Dreams were formless, free from the physical limitations of our short limbs, with which the 5-year-old me wandered there aimless, but entertained. Yet often, reality comes in the form of adults, asking with their torso bent, perhaps in condescension. What do you want to be when you grow up? Suddenly, the word dreams had to be concrete. It had to mean something. You have to be something. A doctor, a police officer, a firefighter. One of my friends said that she wanted to be a damn princess. Even that answer had good reception. Nothing was off limits, except to answer with nothing itself. Similarly, the 5-year-old me answered as generically as he was allowed to. I want to be a doctor. It was the trend to help people and be kind. That was how they taught me. What else but to pick one of the jobs that saved lives? But looking back from the lenses of this soon-to-be young adult, I cringe at the memory. Who cares? What did it matter to the teachers of my school what I wanted to be? I was in primary school, still breaking toys out of curiosity. Every afternoon I would watch animated cartoons and do silly impressions of my favorite fictional characters. One day I was firing a laser through my forearm, and now I had to decide something that I didn't even understand yet. I was not someone who knew of things, but was made to decide for an answer that needed so much information. These adults must know that it was futile to expect a genuine answer from a clueless child. But instead, they made a mandatory assignment of this and made us present it in front of the whole class as to why we wanted to be what we thought we wanted to be. But I get it. It was supposed to be an inspiring, innocent question. It was supposed to be answered just as innocently. What you wanted to be was supposed to fleet. A far-fetched dream that you don't have to think too much about. You were just asked to gaze at the gallant mountain, dreaming for its peak. All the dangers, the risks, the specifics. At the time, they were worthless. They knew I was a kid, which was why they made it as an assignment. It was just a small glimpse into the real world and how dreams can help shape our reality. I soon realized that the adults were correct to a certain extent. Some dreams eventually become concrete. They have to be. After all, we live in a reality that is given meaning by the dreams we desire. And to pursue and then achieve a certain dream must provide one of the greatest meanings in one's life. But how's that going for me? I'm not so sure. Now, everything seems a tad clearer. The dangers, the risks, the specifics. The bias is just not there anymore, or at least not as strong. The peak that I thought seemed clear becomes blatantly discouraging. Albeit, I probably do not have the most life experience compared to other people. It doesn't take a professional climber to know that a vertical wall is, well, hazardous to climb. And the better I've come to understand the appeal of a dream, the more I would know of the hardships tagging along with it. Of course, I might be underestimating or overestimating the very journey, but it still is terrifying. It must be for everyone that's on the spectrum of normalcy. Yet I look to my left and right. I see others way ahead of me, already struggling, already challenging. Their eyes seem clear from where I watch them, as if they have no thought for hesitation. Perhaps the peak was as clear as it used to be, regardless of what they've come to realize. But isn't that just me? No matter how exhilarated their expressions are, I don't know what they see. They could be just as terrified. Or maybe they are just climbing out of necessity and decide to begin without truly knowing where they would end up. Or why are they doing it in the first place? Why do you think there's a lot of people who ended up not using their degrees after their time in university? The things they sacrificed and left behind just to begin. In addition to the fact that it might not even be rewarding, it frightens me as a mere outsider of that dream. And guess what? It just makes me more idle, more reluctant to climb any kinds of peaks of my own. Maybe I'm just a coward. But hey, if this is your problem, congratulations. You're another decrepit young blood, petrified by possibilities. At least, you're not alone. And personally, I think that there should be more decrepit young bloods standing by at the foot of the mountain. I thought of this for so long. And there comes another realization. Why do I feel that everything is so ungratifiable? Is that a word? I think it's a word. I kept watching my left and right, seeing people climbing up and falling, anxious to be either of the two, in fear of what will come next, regardless of success or failure. Because even if I do succeed, there's always this constant push that urges me to keep climbing the next mountain, non-stop, telling me to never be content. But if I fail, well, failure. But why? Why does the struggle and what I've achieved feels void? I think it's because of speed. Well, that or my pessimism. Now, I'm clearly nowhere near a professional researcher. I cannot prove it. But I do realize that there's a correlation between modernization and the speed of life, the pace at which everything is expected to be. Just a tap, and you'll see physics at their brightest, bodies at their fittest, and possessions in full glare. Now you don't need to consciously choose to look at a certain direction. It's just that easy to see everybody. Everybody's hand-picked assorted lives that are especially designed to color their gardens and front porches. Things are so fast and overwhelming now that slowing down is a skill. To be able to peer within and exclude the white noise is a gift. I want some people to stop for a while. When we're up at that mountain, in the midst of climbing, I can only imagine how we'll be so occupied on surviving that nothing else would matter. The noise is always telling us to scale higher, faster. They would instill guilt upon you for not having the next best thing, burden you with all the expectations and self-justified wishes, while dragging you down all at the same time. All of this coming from every direction possible, in such repetition that you might eventually think that they came from your own volition. And how misleading is that? And what a waste. Because amongst them, there might exist a voice that genuinely desires to help and encourage, drowned out by all the other voices, to be forgotten and unnoticed. Now combine every single factor, all the uncertainties that have been mentioned, with the speed of how these things revolve. Everything, no matter objectively good or bad, becomes a distraction that separates you away from your actual dreams. And thus, how can we still say that it's wrong to stop? How can we say that it's wrong to stand idle at the foot of the mountain, even if everyone else is up there fighting? Yes, you might feel guilty about it, because it's similar to disregarding a responsibility, perhaps. And of course, there might be feelings of incompetency, because in comparison to the others that are climbing, you're just standing there doing nothing. But are you really? No. That's the problem, isn't it? Okay, it's not something as cheesy as, oh, you gotta be yourself, oh, you gotta stop comparing yourself to another person. I mean, those things are obvious. This is something much more personal than that. It's about the drive, it's about the will, and it's about the why. The problem is, if we decide to move, and its reason is solely based off a comparison, then how flimsy of a motivation is that? And can we even call that a genuine dream? And if the cost of figuring out and realizing the genuineness of a certain dream is to stop in my tracks for a while, I can't see why it's wrong. As long as I continue to think Our eyes can only see so much, and our ears are picking up everything. They're very unreliable at discerning the noises. The only option that we have is to think and give ourselves time to separate from what we believe to be reality. Make space for our own thoughts, where we can let externalities be externalities. And in the end, maybe we'll find out that our dream was not too big for us, but perhaps we just made it too big for what we actually wanted. I think self-awareness is one of the ways that I can finally come to be a bit more grateful. But yeah, that was confusing. So, should we or should we not dream big? I'm not sure. I've never been. That's why I'm like this. But what I'm sure of is that we should be a bit more thoughtful towards the upbringing of an individual, because we're never sure of what one has given up or what one is currently striving for. I think of myself as pathetic, and that's fine, because the statement came from me alone. I'm fine with being where I am now, and that's what I'm trying to say, although I might not be doing a great job at it. There are things I'm dreaming to achieve in the future, but now that's not all I'm focused on. The things from the past remind me not to be that scared of it. And that's the benefit of stopping. Although again, that doesn't really belittle the mountain, it's still damn scary and huge. Me, I never dream of doing something noble. Jumping into the fire to save strangers from a collapsing building. I don't think I have the moral compass to give someone consultation on how they should act on a certain condition either. Those are dreams that will never be my reality. And to you, I might be standing on a pile of shit, but that's the dream. One man's trash is another man's treasure. A cliche, I know, but they're practical like stereotypes. They're simple and truthful to a majority of things, although barely at their surface level. As I dream to not dream bigger, others might strive for the sky. But it might be so because it only seems like so. And so I wonder which is the correct way to dream. Being content with what I have now, I would like to think that's fine. But it doesn't matter, honestly. For me, regardless of the magnitude of the dream, knowing the reason why I dream is better, miles better, than to simply achieving the dream without reason and context. Regardless of the truth to that statement, they sound pleasant to me. But then again, don't take my word for it. What do I know?